Howdy, Shawna Karrasch here with another Ask Shawna answer. Okay, this question is coming to you from Michaela. She says, "Hi Shawna, my 4-year-old standardbred recently became the bully of the pasture. When she first came to the barn, she was placed with other horses who bullied her quite a bit. She couldn't manage to get to the hay and she would constantly pace back and forth. After about a week of us hoping she would work it out, she never did and lost some weight from the stress and lack of hay. But she always came in at night to eat regardless. Anyway, then she was put in with a single mare who is submissive as they come. Now she is the bully. She pushes her away from the hay and constantly pins her ears at other horses. She is not nearly as bad as the other mare still eats after she gets chased away a bit, but it's still not acceptable to me. Now that mare is on stall rest due to an unrelated lameness, she's out with my friend's new pony. She is still the bully and treats him the same. However, she is 17 hands and he is only 13 too. I worry she might harm him somehow. It's the same in the arena. If other horses ride by, she will pin her ears and get cranky. Is there any way I can stop this behavior, make her more friendly with others? She's an absolute doll with people. Horses just make her nervous, I guess, and she lashes out. Any help would be appreciated. She has been introduced to the clicker already and knows a few tricks." Okay, good for you, Michaela. You're on the right track. And there's actually kind of a blessing in here because it gives us a situation we can directly address, and that is that she does it in the arena as well. So if it's only in the paddock when she's by herself with the others, it's a little bit harder to deal with because you can teach her clearly to do it when you're not there, to be completely a gem, a jewel, great when you're there. But when you're not there, it's hard to know what they're going to do or how they're going to react. But since we know there is a situation that she does it with us there, there's a way we can systematically start to break that down and give her a new, give her some new coping skills and mechanism, and really to help her build more confidence. You know, a lot of what she does, we often tend to look at behaviors that either scare us or scare the horses or that we don't like or we don't understand, and we think they're being, bad, we call it. And they're not being bad. She's just learned this as a coping skill and a coping mechanism for her. So we want to help her to learn a new set of skills to deal with it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is dealing with it in the arena. So this is great because you have a place directly where we can go and we can deal with this and we can kind of pull it apart a little bit and unpack it in pieces. So what I would suggest you do is have her, so figure out where's her threshold. If you know that she's going to be good if we are, if you're 15 feet apart, she's good. But if the other horse is 15 feet apart in the arena and she's good, but if they're 14 feet apart, she's bad, start at 15 feet apart. Because you want to work where she's good and start building up that new reinforcement history. Remember, every living thing does, through the operant conditioning is basically they've learned they're always going to pick the behavior with the strongest reinforcement history. And so whatever works for them. So what we're going to teach her to do, we're going to try and build a new reinforcement history with other horses so that she learns it's good when other horses are around and she can get reinforced quite well when other horses are around. So right now she thinks, no, I don't want them around. They challenge me, they scare me, they don't let me eat, they don't, all those things. And so she's not comfortable with it. So we need to teach her to be comfortable with it. But it's really important that we start outside of her threshold. So we start when she is over threshold. We've already kind of lost her to her old behavior. But if we can start where she's good and make the behavior stronger, it will carry over and we can then change where that threshold is, if that makes sense. So we want to start, like if she's good at 15 feet, that's where we want to start. So let's say, and you also want to think, what can I do to set her up for success? Is she better in the morning or the afternoon or the evening in a certain arena, a certain horse, going a certain direction? Whatever those things, or she's tired or she's been playing or whatever it might be. But whatever you can do to help set her up for success, you want to think about those things. But let's say, okay, you're going to deal with it. I'm just picking kind of an example because oftentimes when horses don't like other horses in the arena, if they really feel most threatened where they're coming head to head. So when horses are coming and they're riding towards each other, they have a tendency to, at some point in there, some horses will get kind of surly looking. we'll say. So figure out where that might be and what that looks like, and try and figure out where it could be that she's still going to be good. So start at that place where she's still going to be good. And so as the other horse is coming up, but she's still in a good place, she looks soft. You haven't had to correct her and get her soft again, but she's still looking like no big deal, no big deal. Click and reinforce so that she starts learning, oh, what was going on in that situation, and she'll start to put together, when the other horse is coming, I actually can get reinforced. But we have to make sure that we're doing it for when she's soft and relaxed. So we'll do that again. So do it a couple times, and if she's looking good, that's great. Next thing I do is I'd bring it, move it in just a little tiny bit closer. So now maybe we're at the 14 feet. But what's happening now is we've already started building a stronger reinforcement history with this behavior under threshold, so where it was still good. So we start saying, hey, you can get reinforced for this good attitude for this. So let's say you bring it into 14 feet. Now we're saying this is where it just starts to look a little grumpy. Now, if she kind of looks grumpy, I would do two things. One, for a second she might be grumpy, but if she softened, I might click and reinforce that the first couple times. You don't want to do it all the time, because you can chain that in where she can learn grumpy then soft, grumpy then soft, that's what gets me reinforced. So instead, you want to look for it to be where she is nice and soft and relaxed. So if she gets, for the first couple times, I might take it when she corrects, and she gets soft again. But if she doesn't, let's say, or you've done it a couple times and now it's kind of a habit, what I would just go around again. And I don't know if you need to have her moving or just standing still and the other horse is doing the moving, but I would just maybe have her stand there again, have the course come around in a big circle, keeping the same distance. And if she, and even maybe when she's just a little bit further out before she starts to get that attitude and she's still good, click and reinforce her for that good soft attitude. Have the horse go around and come again, and then maybe wait till it's just a little bit closer, and then click and reinforce when she's good. Building that threshold and that tolerance and that reinforcement history with being soft and relaxed in the presence of other horses. So you just want to work that over time and change it up. Every time you change one little piece of a behavior, you change the context, your context shift, you can lose the behavior. So just because you have it solid as all get out in this corner of the arena, when you go the other corner of the arena, it might be completely different. Or you do it with a different horse, it may be completely different. So recognize that and think, okay, let's start where it's good again. So it could be that you just sit there as other people are coming and going. It could be that you get friends and you can talk to them and say, hey, will you help me to work on this with my horse? Now, the other thing I would do too, okay, so now that's kind of giving her a better association with horses being nearby and getting reinforced. And I would work it till horses can be right next to her, walking with her, towards her, at her, and she's like, no big deal, it's all good, I'm going to pay attention to you, not to that other horse, because when I'm paying attention to you and I'm good and focused on you and not them, and I stay soft and relaxed or pay attention to what you're asking, I get reinforced. Then I would, so that's where you want to get to. Keep going until she is just completely soft, under threshold. You're not seeing any reaction anymore. And in fact, maybe she even likes the other horses to come around. So the other thing I would do in the paddock now to kind of address the ongoing situation that you also have to address, but you also can't completely remove them from. I mean, that's a fact of matter of horses. As much as we could have this great plan where we take them out of everything and start all over, that's not really practical a lot of times. So back to her and the pony. So what I would start doing is, if you can get 2 feed mangers, or 2 feed places where you can feed them separately and not in the same thing. Oftentimes we have one feed area and that's where they're all going to eat. But if you can get another one that's a separate one and start where you feed, I would have 2 of you feeding. Somebody feed him and then feed her. And I like it when we feed him, but immediately feed her afterwards. But keep it far enough away that she doesn't feel threatened by his presence. Again, we're working outside of threshold. We're working under threshold as opposed to over threshold. So we want to work down here where it's all good. So start where it's far apart. She doesn't mind if he eats, he's eating, that they're both eating, and that's all good. And then when that's going good, what I would actually do, I would stand there and I imagine you're talking about feeding hay, but I would be feeding both their hay and let them be eating. And when she's just eating calm and relaxed, I might be off a little bit, but I would come up and I would toss a handful of of, you know, something really good, some, you know, equine senior or something really yummy and tasty. So it's an extra added bonus, and say, hey, when you're good like this, you may get an added reinforcement of this higher value treat. So she will kind of be paying more attention to her, hey, not you, because we want to fade you out of the picture. But you can say, surprise, if you're being good like this, you can get reinforced. And then a little bit over time, I would continue to build up get them a little bit closer and a little bit closer and a little bit closer and a little bit closer. And you could do them in systematic sessions as well, but I think primarily I would work on doing it and just reinforcing her kind of randomly and selectively through that process as she is being good, but starting outside a threshold first. So it'll help to build her confidence, because really I think the honest goodness underlying thing sounds like it's a confidence issue. She wants to eat, she doesn't want to be threatened, and she feels like if she doesn't take the upper hand, she may not get to eat. And so we want to encourage her, yeah, you're going to get to eat, and you can eat and get extra special things if you just leave him alone and let him eat too. So I think that that'll help. Okay, that's a nice long one. Okay, Michaela, keep me posted. Let me know how things are going. And if you have questions, you or anybody else about this or anything else, just go to askshawna.com or shawnakarrasch.com. And until next time, enjoy getting your horse on target. Bye.